So, like I said before, we want to talk about Ethereum and layer 2s and why they are significant. I hope now you can be able to see my screen. Let cameras wanna disrupt. Wait. Very nice. Okay, so let's just start. Brian, are you able to see my screen? You can just react.
I can only see that you're sharing, but you can't see anything else.
Okay, just a second. It's those people who are joining that keep interrupting the procedure. Stop presenting. If you're able to see, you'll just tell me.
Noted.
Is it visible now?
Not yet. Okay. It's stating that you're presenting, but oh yeah, now it's visible.
So you can be able to see my slides, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Cool. So for those of you that are new, welcome to this session. So I normally teach people crypto and blockchain Mondays and Wednesdays, but sometimes it's not possible because people don't show up. But we'll just proceed. So we want to talk about ETH or Ethereum and layer 2s, and it's very important because in the world of crypto, Ethereum and layer 2s are super important because of they enable people to scale. When I say scaling, it means it enables you to be creative and do a lot of stuff in the blockchain space. We've talked about Bitcoin, and we've talked about Bitcoin before and a lot of stuff. And tonight we want to talk about Ethereum. Now we all know the history of Ethereum. It started way back in 2015. So what happened is there's this creative Russian who used to write for Bitcoin magazine, and then after a few years he decided to fork Ethereum. When I say fork, it just means in simple terms, he borrowed the tech that was used to create Bitcoin so that he could create Ethereum, to enable people to scale, like to be creative and create a lot of stuff that we are going to talk about. Yeah. mm. Right. So just like I was iterating before, the blockchain concept evolved in 2015, and hence Ethereum emerged. And we all know mostly Bitcoin is mostly transaction based, like transferring value from one wallet to another. Now Ethereum brought about the concept of smart contracts and what we call decentralized application. Now, when I talk about decentralized applications, it simply, I can allude it to your smartphone. You see how your smartphone has a lot of apps that you can use to do several stuffs. So that's what Ethereum enables us to do. You can create several applications, but on the blockchain, to do a lot of your stuff. There are so many examples of decentralized apps, and I'm sure in one way or another we have interacted with them. The most common ones are the DeFi protocols. DeFi just means decentralized finance protocols, like Uniswap. There are a lot of apps like NFTs that we will be talking about throughout the sessions as we go on. So many decentralized applications, and for you to, anybody on earth can create whatever they please, so long as you have some background knowledge in writing smart contracts. Well, you don't have to have, you can have the idea, and then you find someone who knows how to write smart contracts, and then you collabo and do some amazing things together. Yeah, so this is just an illustration of what decentralized applications means in the Ethereum ecosystem. So it enables you to create a lot of, there's so many decentralized applications, and I guess the most important thing about decentralized applications is, I know most of us are wondering, why should I use a decentralized app, yet I can just use another app. So I'll give an example with, let's use an example of a bank. Let's say Bank X. So there's an app for Bank X where you can easily transact money. However, we all know banks have certain limitations. Sometimes they don't work on weekends. Sometimes you can't, I mean, if you transact large amounts of money on one go, you'll be summoned. So there's so much, what can I say, restrictions in the traditional finance. So I was using an example of a bank. Suppose I send to Brian 1 million shillings right now. No offense, Brian. Let's say you've never ever received 1 million bob. Then suddenly I send you 1 million bob in your bank account. I guess your account will be frozen, and then you'll be called so that you explain the source of the funds and so many activities. Secondly, transacting that 1 million bob might cost you even a lot of money, even let's say 5,000 shillings. Then thirdly, maybe I transferred it. Let's say I went for some trip in Turkey, then I transferred for you in Kenya. Sometimes it might take a week, or it may have some delays and stuff. So those are some of the disadvantages of traditional finance. And now Ethereum DApps, or decentralized applications, for instance, I gave an example of something like decentralized finance. However, if I transferred for you the same value in decentralized app using cryptocurrency worth a million bob. So a million bob is something like, let's say, $9,000. If I transfer it through the app, it will come automatically. The transaction fees are less than $5. No one is questioning you. You are in sole ownership of your finance. Like, you can do whatever you please with it. No one will start calling you, hey, you've never received 1 million shillings, so how come suddenly you have this money? So those are the beauties of decentralized finance, and they are powered by things called smart contracts. So a smart contract is just if there's some developers in the call, I'm sure they know what smart contract means. So it's just some written code that is audited. Once it's audited, auditing means it's properly checked to avoid any bugs or stuff. Then now it will run on its own it will just run on its own, executing commands without intermediaries from humans. Now so let's just talk about, let me admit, yeah, just like I was talking about smart contracts, it doesn't need let's use an example of a contract that doesn't need human intermediaries, like probably a lawyer to enforce it or anything of that sort. So it's just a piece of code that automatically executes the terms of the contract. For instance, like the example I was giving of sending and receiving money. So the transfer, I mean the smart contract will just have some piece of code that execute the transfer and receive. So when you press transfer, it will execute the transfer from my wallet to your wallet, and you will receive. Now there are so many things that happens beyond just executing smart contracts. So like in the Bitcoin code, Bitcoin is still not very scalable, though there have been some recent developments that we will probably look at later on as we hold more sessions. There's something called BRC tokens. We'll definitely look at those later. So yeah, but now in it, there's more complex and diverse applications that we can always create. This session is probably super useful for devs who want to create stuff, but also important to every other person in crypto and blockchain who probably wants to understand what usually goes on. Like, how on earth do I just receive crypto without intermediaries, human intermediaries? You see, like in can I say, if you want to exchange money, there has to be some intermediary somewhere. But in smart contracts, the code is written, so it runs everything once and for all. Yeah, that's just a nice picture of Ethereum and the EVM. EVM is just something called Ethereum virtual machine. Now, as I was speaking, I may have talked about the one of the examples, the decentralized finance, and one major example is Uniswap. I'm sure some of you who engage in the crypto have heard of Uniswap. So Uniswap is one of the biggest and most successful decentralized app out there. What happens there, people can just swap different crypto without central authority. So for instance, I have Ethereum and I want to get what example can I use? I have Ethereum, but I want to get a stable coin in the Ethereum network. If you attended our previous lessons, I talked about blockchain networks and stuff. So I want to probably exchange for USDC. USDC is just a stable version, a stable coin, like a dollar version in the crypto world. So it's 1 to 1. 1 USDC is just equivalent to $1. So maybe like the past weeks, we've seen some coins gain some percentage. Like let's say Ethereum moved from $1,600 to $2,000, and maybe you want to you want to swap your profits. Maybe you had some 10 Ethereum, so it moved from $16,000 to $20,000. So now you want to just be safe. So you want to swap it to a stable coin that doesn't really get affected by volatility. So you go to a decentralized app like Uniswap, and then you swap it from Ethereum to USDC. Imagine now, I'll use again example of a traditional bank. I have 10 million Kenyan shillings, but because of this recent stuff, the Kenyan shilling is losing its value. Now I want to swap it to USD. You can imagine the amount of forms that I will fill, and maybe some questions I will answer. Where did I get this 10 million from? What else usually happens? Yeah, safety. Where am I even going to work with this? So those are how important D apps are. So in the D app, you don't have to worry about some person questioning you about stuff. Where do you get the money? Maybe if you're swapping, you will get like rates that are super cheap, but now in the D apps, the rates are instant, and everything is on chain. When I say on chain, it's just written code that does everything. Now another importance of these real world applications of D apps, you know how you can save your money in a bank and then you earn some interest. So even in the decentralized applications, all these things are possible by some creative people in blockchain created some smart contracts with stuff like codes like staking. What staking means, it's the same as how you store your money in the bank and then it earns interest. Now in the decentralized apps, you can stake, you can be a liquidity provider, you can borrow, you can lend, you can do a lot of stuff. We will talk about those also. So let me just give an example. So let me use someone's name here. Let's use Kevo this time around and Crypto Bambi. So Bambi has 50,000 USDC, and she has $50,000 worth of Ethereum, but she's doing nothing with them. She's just holding them. However, Kevo needs some crypto to do some stuff. So what Bambi can do, she can be a liquidity provider in this decentralized application. So what she can do, she can just go to Uniswap. It's pretty simple. Let me see if I can share my screen, my entire screen. So what you can do, you be a liquidity provider. That means you provide the necessary crypto in that decentralized app that another person can easily borrow and use for whatever reason they want to use, and then they'll return with interest. So you can hold crypto and earn interests in decentralized applications. So all these things are possible in Ethereum. And anybody can just start learning if you're interested, or if you are a programmer in web 2, you can just engage in web 3 and learn how to do such stuff and create amazing applications. Now that was about Ethereum. Now, all those stuff that I've talked about, imagine 100% of people in the blockchain are using Ethereum to do all this stuff. So you can imagine how busy the network will be. And once it becomes busy, it becomes congested. And once it's congested, it will be slow. And the transactions will be expensive. So everything in decentralized apps, rather in the blockchain space, is dependent of something called gas fees, transaction based. Everything is transaction based. But once the networks becomes busy and congested, it will start charging gas fees that are super high. I'm sure some of you have always tried to send some Ethereum, and then you sometimes you find the gas fees to be super high, $17. Back in 2022, early 2022, it could rise as high as $100 if you're not careful. Maybe you just want to transact something like $6, but the gas fee is $100. So you wonder why, what's happening. The reason is because of super high congestion. Like the network is super busy, and once it's super busy, it becomes congested and the fees rise. Now there's something called front running. So front running is I'm looking for the best explanation, but it's pretty simple. Like you pay higher gas fees so that your transactions can be prioritized. We'll look at that as we look. Now we'll move to layer 2s. But front running, I'll use an example of Uber. Let's say I want to move from I'll use an example of Uber and superhighway. Let's say I want to move from town to the airport, and the road is busy and congested. So what I'll do, I'll order Uber instead of boarding a matatu, and then to front run my transaction to the airport, I'll pay the Uberman extra money to use the superhighway so that he can pay the superhighway, so that I can reach the airport way faster than my twin brother who is using the normal congested road. So that's how front running works in the blockchain space or in ETH. So you can see me, the identical twin brother, has reached the airport faster than my brother who is stuck in traffic, because everyone is using the normal road and everyone wants to get to the airport immediately. So like I said, Ethereum and enabled people to scale and be as creative as they can. So that's when L2s sprang up. So L2s are just layer 2s. They're built on top of ETH to enhance scalability and efficiency. So again, we'll use the example of a busy main road once again. Today it's all about busy roads. So what layer 2s do, you remember the example of the superhighway? That one was just to front run. So, but you can imagine how much I spent. I spent so much money to front run the transaction. So when you front run transaction, what happens? You pay, I wouldn't say you're bribing, but it's like you're paying more fees to validators. Validators are now, it's a bit complex, but they're now, let me say, people in the blockchain that validate your transaction so that it can happen faster. But now layer 2s are innovative solutions designed to enhance scalability and efficiency of Ethereum network. However, this scalability comes at a cheaper cost. So instead of paying super high fees, the costs are super cheap. All of you people have heard of WorldCoin and stuff. So you can see if you send WorldCoin, it's Ethereum based, but you can send it, and then in the app you see something called Optimism. So Optimism is layer 2, and the fee is super cheap, and yeah, it's super cheap. So that's what's happening, scaling. So people became innovative and scaled. They built on top of Ethereum, but they kind of scaled. So now if you can see the image there, and that example is very nice, the example of bypass systems in Kenya. So they were constructed to reduce traffic on the main road. So you're moving from, I'm very poor with directions, so let's say you're moving from, again, town to the airport, and there is congestion in the main road. So you can use the bypasses to hasten your journey to the airport, but you're not paying higher fees. Now it will enable you to reach faster, but you're still reaching the airport faster, but reducing congestion in the main road. So you can think of that as a very good example of layer 2s. So what layer 2s actually does, there are two types of layer 2s that we will talk about, but there's zero knowledge protocols, ZK rollups, and optimistic rollups. Now what happens, all the transactions are bundled up in one go, and then the transactions are the transactions take place in one go, instead of just running one transaction each at a time. So that saves time, saves gas, and reduces the burden on the Ethereum blockchain by using the layer 2s. Yeah, so that's just an illustration. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, that's a really nice illustration of what happens in ETH and layer 2s. So imagine if these bypasses were not there in the screen. Imagine how many vehicles would have been on the main highway, and they're trying to get to the city we are seeing ahead. There could be a lot of chaos, and you can take probably 5 hours to reach over there. But now the bypasses are like layer 2s, so people can easily get to the Ethereum logo easily with the layer 2s without congestion and much work. Now that's a pretty simple way of how layer 2s work, and why they are significant. And there are so many, like I said, there is optimistic and there's zero knowledge L2 solutions. And I don't want to go, this is a really nice picture. It's just someone who experienced layer 2 for the first time and is now super happy. I'm sure you can read the explanation there. That's exactly what happens. So instead of every transaction overloading the main ETH road, layer 2s handle the transactions on bypasses. So that enables transactions to be processed faster and efficiently without overburdening the networks. Now what happens, the transactions are, if you go deeper into the explanations, the transactions happen off chain, and then once they happen, they will be proved on chain later on. So that really helps the main network to reduce congestion and burden that happens on the main chain. So decentralized finance layer 2s is a very interesting topic. It's super interesting and there's so much going on. In our next session, we'll look at some of the applications, because today we're just brushing over what's happening. We'll look at some of the applications, optimistic, zero knowledge, and then we'll look at now what I was talking about, DApps. The DApps, how you can be a liquidity provider, how you can be a lender, you can borrow, you can stake, you can do a lot of things over DApps. Now you can leverage on L2s to avoid the high gas fees that happens on the mainnet, on the Ethereum main network. So right now, that was about Ethereum and layer 2s. I hope it made sense. If anyone has a contribution, you can just unmute and then we hear from you, because now I want to hear your contributions and questions. If you're shy, you can just chat in the chat section too. Shout out to Vicky, who helped me make the nice presentations. You can see how elaborate they are. So is there anyone who has a contribution or some questions? Let me look at the chat section. We can't see. Is it only Brian who can see the screen? I think everyone can see my screen clearly. Yeah, I think everyone can see it. Is there anyone who has a question on Ethereum, layer 2s, anything? Very nice, they can see it. So if there's no question, I just want to share I want to show you something on Uniswap for a minute. You see what I'm talking about. This is just one of many examples of what's happening in Ethereum and L2s. Just a second. I'll stop presenting, then I'll present my entire screen. Oh yeah, someone is asking, why can't we innovate on Bitcoin's network? What makes ETH? ETH is not the only scalable one. It's just easier to scale on Ethereum. And as I said, right now, there's some creatives or other creative people like you and I who are working on Bitcoin to make it scalable. You can read on BRC tokens, BRC are like ERC tokens on the Bitcoin network. It's just that it's easier to scale on Ethereum because when the creator Vitalik Buterin created Ethereum, he made it a little bit easier to scale and also to develop decentralized apps. If you read something called a white paper is like let me just use literal example. It's what has all the information of the vision of a certain project. The white paper of Bitcoin mostly was transaction based. It did not actually talk about creating DApps and a lot of stuff. It's very reserved. If you read it deeply, you will see why. However, in Ethereum, scaling solution was its major vision to enable people or other creatives all over the world express themselves. And yes, we can innovate on Bitcoin's network. There's a lot of things happening on Bitcoin network. If you have time, just check on Taproot, BRCs. There are so many things happening on Bitcoin. It's just that for my case also, I haven't actually indulged on Bitcoin's network for as deep as I have on Ethereum. But right now, there's some innovation on Bitcoin's network. Like I'll talk about. There's some project called Machankura where you can use USSD code to send and receive Bitcoin on your feature phone. A feature phone is just Kabambe. Kabambe is our local language. Yeah, Kabambe, where you can dial some USSD and send and receive Bitcoin. So that's one of scalable solution that we are talking about, but now on the Bitcoin network. So we can be innovative on the Bitcoin network. It's just that people, or rather it's easier to scale on Ethereum's network because of a lot of documentations. I mean the standards. When I say standards, like ERC standards, there's so many things that are involved. Now I wanted to show you something small on share entire screen. Uniswap. I hope you can, yeah, I think you can see my screen. So this is Uniswap. Launch app, but I don't want to connect my wallet right now. So when you launch the app, and this is just on Ethereum. So if you've ever heard of BNB or Binance Smart Chain, it was also forked from Ethereum. And then the creatives got creative and created also a lot of decentralized apps like PancakeSwap. There are so many things. BeefySwap, Beefy Finance, so many applications. Those ones are just for finance. There are also applications on things like NFTs, non-fungible tokens, where you mint your artwork and you sell. There are things called identities like ENS. ENS is Ethereum Name Service. I'm sure you've seen me called hazardcrypto.eth. So that's my ENS, and you can send and receive crypto using the ENS rather than cramming your whole wallet address. You can just use hazardcrypto.eth to tip me some Ethereum if you want. Those are some of the creative stuff that are happening on Ethereum. So this is what is it? Uniswap. Now you can see here there is swap, there is tokens, NFTs, pools, and so many things. So what you have to do first, the reason it's called a DApp is because you have to connect your wallet. let me yeah, I hope you don't see my password. Mask. Anyway, it's on testnet and it's on Sepolia. Let me use this one for tests, and then ETH mainnet. Yosh. So this is why it's called a decentralized app, because you have to connect your wallet. Uniswap wallet. Wow, I didn't know they have already created the wallet. So we'll just use MetaMask for this example. Now what's happening is you need to sign a transaction to connect your wallet to these decentralized applications. Oops. Yes, it's connected. In our previous classes, I think I started with security. So once you're done using these decentralized apps, you need to disconnect your wallet. I'll show you how that's done. That's just a security measure. And sometimes you may have connected to a fishy website, but you didn't know. And then you need to have several wallets. I'm sure you've seen how many wallets I have. Like this one is just for tests. So even if it's compromised, I have nothing to lose there. So yeah, that I've already connected my wallet. Now I can interact with Uniswap decentralized finance. So by swapping, this is what I was saying. You have ETH. The market is volatile. You can use probably CoinMarketCap to check out what's happening. ETH. You have ETH. Cryptocurrencies. In our first ever class, I told people to download stuff like Telegram, Discord, CoinMarketCap, Twitter. What else? Yeah, those are really important stuff that will help you in crypto and crypto and what and blockchain. So this is just a tool that helps us to check out the prices of stuff. And yeah, as you can see, it has bounced back to $2,000. So maybe I'm satisfied with the profits. Maybe I bought it at $1,600. So what I'll do, I'll just come back to my Uniswap. And swap it to USDT, DAI or USDC. These ones are stable coin, like they are 1-to-1. Let me say USDC. Let's say I had 100 ETH, inshallah. So 100 ETH will give me $203,000. It can't reflect because I have zero balance. So that's how you can swap. And you can see no one is controlling you, is calling you, is asking you things like, where did you get those ETH from? Who gave it to you? So once you swap it, it will reflect to your wallet. Tokens. These are just tokens on the Uniswap ecosystem. So these ones are on the EVM, or rather the Ethereum network. Like this one, you see it's wrapped Bitcoin. What wrapped Bitcoin means, it's Bitcoin, but it's wrapped in the Ethereum blockchain. So these ones are a bit complex. How the wrapping happens is a whole other topic. NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Maybe you are a creative, you create art, music, what else can be turned into NFTs. Mostly people know about artwork, but there's so much that can happen. Generative art, normal artwork, music, stuff like what I told you, like the ENS. You can list your ENS here and sell it. Ethereum name service. So Bodep Yacht Club, you can come here, buy or sell stuff. These things were about 700 ETH during bull run, just one, but right now the total volume is 845. So crypto is also a very cruel place. Then pools. So by pool is what I was saying, you can create a pool to be a liquidity provider. I said Bambi had $200,000 that is idling, so maybe $100,000 ETH and $100,000 USDC. So she can just come here and create one, and then as people are using her money, she earns some interests. So this stuff like swapping here, it doesn't come from the Uniswap protocol itself. It comes from the community that posts, stake their coins there to be used. You can withdraw it whatever time you feel like. Even if you have a bad nightmare at 3 a.m. in the morning, you just wake up and withdraw your funds. That's about decentralized apps, Ethereum, and layer 2s. So this is our Discord. I'm not sure why people are complaining that they can't join, but once you press that thumbs up button, you'll be able to join. I told you to come to the events section here. There's a lot of events I usually post there. It will take forever to load for some weird reason. Apart from events, if you go through the Discord channel, there are so many sub servers that you can interact with. Okay, it's taking forever and it will consume our time. That's Uniswap. There's also SushiSwap. SushiSwap is also, but this is purely on DeFi. SushiSwap, decentralized finance. I guess that's all for this session. I don't want to drag the session too long to bore you. Now we'll be interacting. Hey, someone is threatening me here. It's okay. Yeah, we'll be interacting. We can continue the conversation on our various groups, WhatsApp, Telegram, and Discord. WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord. Yeah, once you enter the Discord channel, you just press that thumbs up emoji. That's all. You just press it once and then you will be verified. But I'll remove that verification because it seems it's disturbing a lot of people. I'll drop the links to all the community related channels on my Twitter, so you can just join them and follow me if you want. Also always invite your friends to the group so that we can learn together. If there are no more questions, we can leave at our own pleasure. I hope the session made some sense. So I'm just going to stop the recording. Okay, someone is asking a question. And oh yeah, that's on topic. Gershon is asking, when withdrawing some crypto and there is no enough money in the liquidity pool, what do you do? Now, you need to do your research properly when you are engaging with these DeFi protocols, because some of them are scammy. Sometimes it's not scammy, but sometimes there's a little bit of panic on the market, and then everyone suddenly withdraws their money. So if you try, you can't withdraw money from a liquidity pool that is not yours. For instance, let's say you are a liquidity provider, if I hear your question rightly, and then you are trying to withdraw your money, but it's not enough. That can't happen because the smart contract cannot allow such a thing to happen. The only thing that can happen is if the protocol gets hacked, and then some of the money is stolen by the hackers. Gershon, you can unmute and ask your question properly because it has so many dimensions. Are you still in the call? Can see you. So he was asking when withdrawing some crypto and there is no enough. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, please ask your question.
Yeah, sometimes when I want to withdraw some crypto, maybe from PancakeSwap, it tells me that the liquidity is not it's not enough. So then, and then when I come back later to withdraw, I find that the price has gone down like 10 times the way it was earlier. Is that usually a scam, or
it's not a scam?
Or is the crypto how it is?
So are those shit coins?
Meme coins. They are meme coins.
Yeah, the shit coins or meme coins, whatever. So I'll give an example. Let's say Victoria has created a token V, and then she has backed it up with 5 BNBs. So the token V, let's say there are 1,000 tokens, token V, and she has backed it up with 5 BNBs. So it means for you to withdraw the 1,000 tokens, or rather to swap them, you can only swap up to 5 BNB. Now, if people start pumping their money there, then the price of the token pumps upwards. So once it pumps upwards, now there is enough liquidity, and then now people start taking their profits, exactly what you're saying. So once they take their profits, if you're late in the party, you will find that all the liquidity has been already withdrawn. So if you're late in the party, so if you come back to swap, yes, the protocol will tell you there's not enough liquidity because everyone have already withdrawn the liquidity that was there. So that's why sometimes you get such problems, and then once that happens, the price plummets from, like just you said, 10 times lower than initially it was. So if you are participating in these meme coins and shit coins, you need to be super watchful. Now if you swapped, let's say 5 BNB for the token V, and then you are late in the party, people will withdraw your 5 BNB. They will give you even more V tokens and withdraw your 5 BNB. However, if you are keen, you've pumped the 5 BNB, and then others have pumped, and now your 5 BNB equal tokens of V tokens are worth 7 BNB. You quickly withdraw from the market. I know that game, so that's what usually happens in these DeFi protocols. I hope I've answered your question. So you need to be very keen when you're engaging in meme coins and shit coins. I have tokens that right now are $0.1 and they pumped up to $500. So by then I did not have enough knowledge like I do now, and no one was willing to tell me. So I thought how crypto works is that it keeps pumping. So I didn't know that when there's liquidity, someone can withdraw and you can have nothing. So now I call them shitcoins are usually nowadays almost 0 shillings because I forgot to swap or rather take my profits. I hope I've answered you. So let's end the session because it's now long. We may leave and continue the conversation in the various platforms. Yeah, bye everyone.